David Ramo. Dude, we're here.
We're here.
I like your hat.
Thanks, man. I like your
This is a long time in the making. You're supposed to be number one, but you bailed like 6 or 7 times.
It was definitely me. It was 100%.
100% your fault. You canceled.
Your robots were supposed to get in touch with my robots so that we could schedule this thing somewhere. Breakdown in the communication, but
you know, it's like I mean, we're in Christmas time now. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to be in the holly jolly spirit. And I sat down on Santa's lap, and I said, all I want for Christmas is to do a podcast with David Duramo.
Here I am.
And here you are.
I'm blessed you with my presence.
Dude, I'm so proud of you, man. You, like, just to give you a compliment, David is, he was quite the fireman. And he's one of my good friends and someone that I look up to and admire. And now he's not a fireman anymore. I think there's like 2 people in this room that can say like they've done that and come out of the other side.
Yeah, I mean, it's first of all, I appreciate you having me. Okay,
of course.
So, yeah, we came out on the other side against all odds.
We did.
And I had some people through my career that kind of did the same transition that you did, and I always found that inspiring for reasons that we've talked about before, which is, you know, I don't know what it is about the fire service in general, but everybody holds on to, you know, the steady paycheck. Like, it's a guaranteed paycheck. You got the pension, and that carrot's like constantly dangled in front of you. And when you hear about somebody leaving something that we all fought for so hard to get into, I mean, for me, it took 4 years to get a job. I was volunteering. Like, I worked my butt off to get hired, and that's because, you know, there's more of the story, which we'll probably talk about. But anyway, to work that hard to get a job and then to like just willingly leave early and not fulfill your retirement and not, you know, even though I'm vested, or to leave the pension on the line, you know, it's just like, you just don't do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's hard not to take it personal. It's hard not to, because, you know, it's like for me and for the reasons that we discussed and we'll talk about, you know, it's like there are things that, you know, a lot of times are happening. And I think there are guys that use that or use reasons or excuses to go, okay, yeah, this is like me, and so I'm getting out to do this, but actually you're just tired, or actually you're just like, I'm not cut out to do this work, or actually I'm just like, I might be a little bit of a bitch and I can't get out the window or whatever it is, you know, and for all kinds of different reasons. And so people find reasons to do that. But, you know, then there's that other percentage, there's that other group that it's like, no, there's things going on. There's things that are going on that we might not know about, or we might not be able to like physically see or whatever. And guys like myself, you know, you're kind of like going through that quietly because of the service and because of the way things are kind of structured, not to diminish anybody's ability to, you know, share or be open. Like, I know there's going to be a ton of guys that go, oh man, I was always there if you needed to call or whatever, you know, but right. I'm not trying to disparage that, but I think the way the service is built for a long time, you know, the service that we grew up in and all that, it's like, it's kind of, you're just kind of made to like, all right, like, tough it out. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Next call. Next thing up. Like, I don't care how you feel. It's whatever. Like, nut up or shut up type thing. And
I mean, in their defense, like, we're not serving coffee.
That's right.
We're not working at Starbucks. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, but we, in a way, we do have to like pick ourselves up and get after it. Doesn't matter if you're running 2 calls a shift or 24, like, you have to get up and go. You're expected to go, and your guys are relying on you. And if you're on a good crew, like, you don't want to let them down. Even if you're on a bad crew, you don't want to let them down, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But yeah, I think for me in particular, it was hard because, and I'm sure that we'll get into this, but, you know, I didn't want to leave. I loved the job.
Same.
I loved my position. I loved my crew. I loved my department. I was paid well, I thought. You know, the union will cringe when you say that, but I was paid well, I thought. You know, we had a great pension. We had great time off. Like, I had it made. I drove a tower truck.
That's right.
with the best lieutenant in the department,
Mhm.
with the best guys on my crew. And that's like, who leaves that? Like, everybody wants to drive a truck. Like, not that everybody wants to drive a truck, but like,
So give it the rundown. Not everybody's a fireman. So like from kind of like my understanding and your understanding and the way we see it, and then kind of like the outside sees it, the ability to work on a tower crew, to get on a truck company, it's like there are people that are on an engine or an engine company, and you are with the hose. You're primarily putting fires out. You're doing that whole thing. But the tower company or the truck company, it's a little. You got to be a little.
You're professional freelancers.
That's right.
Okay, so
that's right. You're busting doors. You're kicking kick a dough. You're doing all that crap. You're venting roofs. You're doing all the cowboy shit, right? And then you're saving the babies, and everybody's loving you. Or you're standing in the yard going, yeah, that thing's on fire. And there's nobody in it.
I think one of my last fires that I had, my last like good working fire, was a fire on Union Street. Remember where they would feed the homeless?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it was an arson. It was about this time of year, and we could smell it from Clyde. You could smell it from Clyde.
The homeless or the fire?
The fire.
Okay.
So anyway,
sorry. Because the whole anyway,
it was ripping.
Yeah,
we pulled up first, and it was fire blowing through the front door and through the eaves, and we were going to work like we just knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I have videos of it. Phil was pulling a line. Like it was one of those fires that just like sticks with you forever.
Yeah.
And it was cool, especially for me, because I was driving the truck. And again, for the guys that are not maybe versed in the fire service, like we had a 3-man truck, and we were a fairly new department in the sense of having a truck company. And our crew in particular was trying to push, inside outside truck, and we were pretty aggressive with it, and we were trying. Anyway, so I was essentially acting as outside truck, and I got to do it all. I got to force fences, like cutting chains off fences to get through. I was opening windows, venting. I was on the roof. Like, I got to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And just eating it up, like throwing ladders. Like, it's just my dream fire. And we live for that, right? Like, we train for it, we wait for it, and it happens, and then you just execute.
Yeah, that's right.
It was cool. So, and then, just a couple months later, like, I'm putting my 2 weeks in, and I didn't want to. Like, we should probably go over that, but yeah,
dude, you're literally, it's so crazy just to even hear you say that, because I'm like, man, I empathize with that so much. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, I still feel like emotional just even like just sitting here talking about it, and kind of like going through some of the stuff. I had a Tom Van Horn on not too long ago, and same thing. We're like talking a little bit about some of the things, and you're just kind of reliving that, and it's like you're always like, I always immediately, my brain wants to go to some of the best things about the fire service. It's all the things I love, because really, like, the way I feel about it is like we were talking about, like, I don't want to say disparaging things about the fire service, because it was the greatest job in the world, in my humble opinion.
Right.
I love that job. I love doing that job. If I could still be doing that job, I probably still would be doing that job. I mean, that's really how I feel. And it's still how I feel. And, we're golf carting over to grab some dinner, and you're like, do you miss it? And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You just feel that, like, because it's the good things that you choose to think about. It's the brotherhood you talked about, the crew, like being like, just like my time coming to Kissimmee. It's like, we were talking a little bit about the ability to work with like a good crew or whatever. And dude, like, I'll never forget, like, when I got selected for Station 11C, I was like, that was like the best ever, dude.
Let's go.
It was the best ever, because I was like, man, these are the guys, and no offense to any other guys, whatever, but I was like, dude, 11C, there was just a vibe that, like, as soon as I met you guys, I'm like, yeah, I want to be there.
We were really getting after it for a while.
Yeah,
like, it was a good time.
I want to be there, and it's just this thing you get, and you're like fast friends, and then quick family, and then all of a sudden, like you said, in the blink of an eye, it's like, okay, you're doing something different. And I don't think there's any way to like fully comprehend like how that feels. Like if I tried to explain to somebody, like we were talking about, like walking out of the bay on the very last day, and it's like, okay, B shift's on, like, hey, good luck, or A shift, they're like, hey man, good luck on, you know, whatever, like goodbye paychecks, you know, whatever it is. And then it's like C shift, I remember we stayed up all night the night before I left and just talk shit, and you did whatever. And it's like, all right, everybody's gone, and you're there, and you're like, oh, like that's when, for me, that's when it hits you. You're like, oh, I'm really insignificant in this much, much bigger thing that's just going to keep going forever and ever.
Dude, I feel that to my core, because my last shift, I was a wreck. I mean, I cried on the bay floor putting my gear on the truck, and I cried taking my gear off the truck. And I lingered in the bay and in the station for like 2 hours. I just didn't want to go. And when I pulled out of there, I'm telling you, dude, I cried like a baby. And what's crazy is I had to go to do a site visit for a client to do a measure and, you know, design this vanity or whatever else. And I cried the whole way there.
Yeah.
And these people are probably like, what is wrong with this guy? Like,
No.
You just get beat up? Like,
dude, no, totally. I same. I mean, it's like I was in the bay at Station 11. Tower pulls out, everybody's gone, and C shift's gone. I got no homies anymore, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna get my truck. And then the same thing, just slow walk out. Like, Amy took all my gear. She's like, hey man, like I'm so happy for you, sweet Amy, you know, whatever. And dude, same thing. My drive was a little further than yours, and I literally was just a wreck the entire way home. I think I stopped on Nova and spent like 27 solid minutes, just like.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, normally I'm driving down Nova and I'm like, there are definitely aliens here. For sure. There's ghosts. There's all kinds of weird shit on Nova Road. Just like, if you ever get the distinct pleasure of driving down Nova Road and you do it at, like, I used to get up like really, really early to have to come into work, and it's like very, very dark. And Nova, dude, there's some freaky deaky stuff going on Nova.
Yeah. That's a 2-lane road, right? Like forever.
Dude, it's a 2-lane road forever. And
there's nothing.
Like, there are like multiple stories of, you know, like ghost sightings, UFO sightings, all that stuff. Cause it's just like creepy. It's just cow pasture.
Yeah.
That's all there is. And boy, if you happen to find yourself in a bad accident or something out there, boy, you might as well just stay right there. Cause it's going to be a little bit before they get out to you. It's just one of them areas where it's weird. You get no self-service. You go out of self-service. So it's like, some of that stuff, man, and then you go ahead and just tack on, like, I slept an hour and a half the 24 hours prior.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm definitely seeing some weird shit.
Like,
as I'm driving.
dude, oh my goodness. The whole, like, zero sleep, and then, like, being expected to operate your vehicle home for an hour or plus, you know, and it's like, that's more dangerous than if you had a couple drinks and drove.
100%.
You know, like...
100%.
Nobody's talking about that though. Like,
no.
That's not on anybody's radar.
Nope. Never mind, like, actually having to tend to children and do any of that kind of stuff. It's like, no, just the drive home. Oh boy, well, that's
dude,
special.
There was a guy, this was probably about 10 years ago now, but there was a fireman local that came off shift. I don't know if he worked at 48 or whatever, but came off shift, and he had picked up his little girl from like preschool, and he I guess just out of it, left her in the car, and she ended up dying because it was summer. And like, if that doesn't say enough of what we're talking about, like, the guy was clearly not in the right headspace,
dude,
and probably just drained. Imagine, I mean, you've ran 48s at Station 11, on Rescue 11, like that. It's like, I mean, thank God they got 2472s now.
Yeah.
Or supposedly it's coming in April, I think. But
dude, thank God for real, because that's a game changer.
But you know what? Like, they're still going to work 48s, and then they're going to take 24 off, and then they're going to do another 48 or however that schedule. You know, they're going to, I mean, unfortunately, firemen, like, they're just going to take that overtime.
100%. And you know what? Like, some guys, it's like they do it because they love it, but most guys, it's like out of necessity because of the pay and things like that. Like, I got a ton of county guys that are like, dude, they just like Mando overtime, they just work overtime. It's like built in, like that's what they got to do, and they've got 100 and something hours, and it's just, that's the way of life.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks because you literally, like, you're we're here like 2 days away, 3 days away from Christmas, and we're like stressing about like, you know, witnessing car accidents in the avenues, like whatever. And those guys are just at station, whatever. And they're like, I'm just trying to go home.
Dude, they're just, those guys, those guys were trying to eat dinner and that car accident came out.
So everybody knows that we're talking. This is real life. So David and I are grabbing a bite. We're getting some food before the podcast. And we're like, you know, in Vieira, you golf cart everywhere. That's what you do. We're the golf cart boys. Is what we do. And so we're out on the town. I'm showing David a good time, and a massive collision happens right in front of us, like as if there's not like two firemen on a golf cart. Like, why would that happen right in front of us? And we both look at each other and we're like, blinders up. Like, dude, we're on our way to Moe's, man. I can't. Yeah.
I don't know, man. What's crazy about stuff like that too is like I think a lot of times about, and people that aren't in the fire service or, you know, hospital or whatever, like they can't understand this, but it'll be 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever time of day it is. You'll get toned out for a code, overdose, drowning, whatever else, and you'll be talking, you know, the whole way to the call about what you did this weekend or what you were talking about before the call came out. Mm-hmm. As soon as you pull the air brake, game time. And then as soon as you get back in the truck, it's like the conversation never stopped. You just pick right back up. And what you've talked about in the past, like in one of the past episodes, just like the desensitizing that happens over time with constant exposure. And it's like, dude, but it takes a toll. Like, I don't have to tell you, you know that. It took a toll on me, and that's ultimately what led both of us to where we are, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. I wish there was just I wish there was a good way to explain this. I think I'm going to have to spend 1,000 hours on a podcast station or a podcast platform just like talking about it over and over and over again, just so people know like I'm not full of shit and we're not full of, and it's like what we're talking about is actually a real thing. And I just wish there was a way that we could acknowledge that, you know, there's not any good way to be exposed or accept the things that are happening in front of you, the things that we have to go and deal with. Like, you just deal with them. It's like, okay, this is what you know, like as you said earlier, like, nope, this is what you signed up for. This is your job. This is what you get paid for. Like, go do it. You know, whatever. We got to, you know, take care of your boys, be there, all that good, all that hoorah stuff. Like, I just wish there was a way that we had the ability to just say, like, acknowledge in those times, like, hey, you know, I went through that thing and I might not be okay. I don't know if I am okay or I'm not okay. I don't know. I just need to talk about it. Like, I need to like say how I feel about this and feel that anger and just kind of be in it in a minute, or that sadness and just be in it in a minute, and then, you know, come out of the other side and see what happens. Not everything happens in that way where it's might be more significant and then might require more, but most things it's like you said, that's a great point. Like a lot of people that are going to listen to this aren't firemen, and they don't understand, like, in the engine on the way, you're just talking about whatever. Yeah. It could be anything. It could be where you're eating for dinner. It could be how you're ugly, and you know, whatever. It could be anything, and any number of things. And then you get out, and it's like, boom, you're like right deep in like a full on extrication, and somebody's like worst nightmare moment ever. Mm-hmm. Right? You're there for a couple hours, good. Everybody's high fiving, and then you're back in the engine. You're like, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
Like there's like this whole stigma where it's like kind of like that's like the expectation. That's what it's got to be. And I just wish, you know, not necessarily like we got to be these big wussies and these big softies, but we gotta acknowledge, like, no, that was actually really, like, really hard, that we just, like, what we were exposed to, what we saw, that shit really sucked. Like, you good? Like, am I good? You want to cry? You want to scream? Like, you want to do whatever? Like, let's go, man. 'Cause that's what family's about.
Yeah. So you're right. And that's been, unfortunately, I feel like what you're saying is like, we got to just ask each other, like, are you good? Right. And that's been being discussed or mentioned as like that's what we should do for years. I feel like, at least for the last half of my career, that's was being said, but nobody's doing it. And I think everybody has their own coping mechanisms. I'm not saying they're all healthy or that they all work, but everybody deals with it different. Everybody's affected differently. The way you're wired, the way you were designed is different than the way I was designed. And we all deal with it differently. And that could be a number of things. Like, I'm not a, what do you call it, psychologist or whatever, but like.
You're not?
Well.
You got the hat to say differently.
So I just feel like, you know, things that worked for you, like we should probably talk about this at some point, but, you know, you talked about UCF restores. Mm-hmm. And so for anybody that doesn't know, there is University of Central Florida has a program that is for veterans and first responders that essentially is to help you overcome PTSD, right? Am I wrong? You want to add anything to that?
No, for sure. PTSD definitely, but they work and deal through a lot of different things like anxiety, depression, sleep deprivation. You know, there's a lot of number of things akin to post-traumatic stress, or you know what I mean? Like, cause sometimes like your symptoms and the things that you're the way they manifest themselves might not always be like, oh, well, I just went through this bad call and then like I'm freaking out about it. Like, it's like, dude, no, like a lot of us, like, dude, I'm talking like years and years later, like I'm like crapping myself in a TJ Maxx, like we talked about, you know, like there's no good way to say that, but yeah, you know.
So I think, you know, you went to that. I went to it. I went for a couple sessions and I didn't find that it was working for me, but you had a lot of good things to say about it, which is amazing. That's excellent. Like, that's so good to hear that it worked and that it's working for people because they're getting the help that they need. You know, for me, the only thing that I found to help was, you know, I was praying. I was giving it to the Lord. Like I wasn't getting, like you, I wasn't getting on medication. I wasn't going to let it beat me. I never, at one point in my life, never felt like, you know, I need to off myself, or that I can't live through this. For me, I couldn't, I could never do that to my kids. Like, that's what I think about is like,
sure,
you know, but at the same time, I can understand and sympathize because of the things that I see in my kids. Like, I don't look at my kids the same. Like, not that I see them as, you know, mangled bodies, but when like one of the things I brought up to the PTSD or to the UCF restores counselor, or whatever you want to call it.
Therapist, whatever.
Therapist,
yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, like, you know, not that it was ritualistic, but like when I would put my kids in this car seat, I'm like checking the straps. I'm like making sure it's just right. Like, I'm giving them a hug and a kiss like it's the last time I'm going to see them. And that's literally the thoughts that are going through my head. And that's not normal. People don't do that. And I always say, like, I wish I could be as naive as most people out in the world today, like within reason, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so for me, what worked was just giving it to the Lord. I'd pray and I'd give it to him. And that's really what would work. And I'm talking within like 20 minutes, I would feel some relief of it, you know?
Yeah, man.
And everybody has their outlet, but
yeah, 100%. You know, and I think like, you know, spirituality, or religion, whatever you want to call it, definitely a huge part of a lot of people's just growth in life. Like, just outside of that, you know, like, you know, we had Gary Miracle in here, deeply like rooted in faith and religion and stuff, and like that guy, like, dude, after listening to him talk, I'm like, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I'm like, how could you? Yeah. I literally am sitting here and I'm looking at this man and I'm like, and I'm literally saying it's so crazy to me because I'm saying the same thing that probably people say about us as firemen. I'm looking at him and I'm like, how are you not angry every single day? Like, dude, how are you, like, what happened to you? How are you not literally like just like clawing at yourself like with anger? Mm-hmm. Because that's how I feel like I would feel if that happened to me. I would be so angry, and I would be so just like the thoughts, like the deprivation of my thought. Like, I couldn't imagine. You know what I'm saying?
So that episode was incredibly inspiring, and like I told you, like I didn't know I needed to be inspired, and then I left after listening to that podcast, and I was like, holy cow, I'm inspired. Mm-hmm. But
thank you, man.
Yeah, that was amazing. And what was so cool about him and his story was that, you know, clearly he's a believer and he's rooted firm in his belief and in his faith. And what's so cool about him and his story is he's so relatable in the way he delivers his message the way he witnesses. He's not throwing a Bible at you. He's not slamming the book. He's not offering you like a palm Bible, like, you know, pocket Bible. Like, I hate to like go down that avenue, but like in my opinion, the effectiveness of spreading the word and witnessing is just leading by example. And that guy's doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he is just in the way that he stays positive and finds grace and looks for the good in it, right? And like he said, like, God's gonna take this and do something incredible with it.
No, I can tell you for a fact. I talk to him often. He's become a good friend of mine, and he is.
I want you to tell him what I said, like how inspired I was.
He'll hear it. He'll hear it. He listens. But man, like I was like overwhelmed by the amount of people that reached out after that, and they were like, man, like, just like you said, you're like, dude, that guy, like, whoa, you know. And he is 100% authentic. Like, that is him all the time. Yeah. All the time. And listen, man, I've seen him in some downtimes. I've seen, like, we share a private text thread. Like, we talk a lot, and I'm like, man, even in his times of struggle or whatever, I'm like, just the way he acknowledges the struggle or sees it, right, the way he visualizes it. I'm like, dude, like, he literally in his story, and like, you go back and listen to that one. It's worth it. But like, I mean, like, as if losing your arms and legs weren't enough, he has a story about his dog passing away the day he woke up from a coma, his wife divorcing him like 6-7 months later, right in the middle of COVID. He couldn't even see his kids because one of them got COVID, and they were like just like insane. Like, I'm like, I can't even put like that into perspective, like how I would feel or think or whatever. And, you know, it's like, that is very, like, it was impactful to me, because it's like, that is literally like, when I think about the things and the way I started to feel, in some of my last days in the fire department, like it, in some of the things I witnessed, you know, other people and the way they kind of like carried themselves, like, there was a lot of resentment and anger just towards people in general. Like, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm not saying I'm some like great person or whatever, but like, I don't want to, like, generally, I don't want to be pissed off at people all the time.
Right.
I don't want to be angry at you know, young women with kids. I don't want to be angry at you know, someone that might be with less privilege than I have, or less money or whatever, and they're in need because they're actually really having an ailment or going through something. And I'm just like, dude, no, like, we see you 20 times a day. Like, stop calling. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you die. Stop calling us. I don't ever want to feel that way, ever. Like, in a normal life, ever. You know what I'm saying? And so I start seeing some of that stuff, and for me, it's like the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the end, because now not only am I a liability to the people that I'm tasked with taking care of, but I'm a liability to myself.
Yep. I feel that, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget, there was a lady that we were running on pretty frequently, like every shift, if not maybe twice a shift, overdose. And I'm not talking like she just took a little bit too much. I'm talking like stone cold, dead overdose kind of level. And we'd give her Narcan, she'd come back. And I remember one time in particular, she came back and woke up, started crying, and one of the medics finally asked her, like, why do you do this? Like, she was in her 30s probably, maybe early 40s. Why do you do this? Like, why can't you get out of this? Like, what's going on? She had lost a child to some tragic accident, and she never climbed out of that pit. And what's crazy is I've run on people that are, I hate to say it, scum of the earth, like just downright, I'm talking demon possessed. Like, some of the look I've gotten from some of these people.
Oh yeah.
It's straight demons.
Oh
man.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you know, some of these people that are on the street, like, you just never know, man. Like, they could be master's degree, like, super successful, and they just made one bad decision, or the cars just didn't fall right, and they never picked themselves back up. Like, who are we to not treat these people with respect, right? And I'm not saying I was always the example of that, because early in my career, when I was running as the only medic on a rescue, and we were getting our you know what's pounded. Like, I was probably not the most professional.
Yeah.
I can promise you I wasn't.
Yeah.
And
Same.
that still bothers me to this day, because of, you know, where I am now and all the things. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you just your humanity just starts to peel away piece by piece, and whether you like to acknowledge it or not, it manifests itself in how you treat your kids, how you look at your wife, how you look at your husband, how you look at people in general. It doesn't matter. It's just like, you know, I feel like, you know, what's kind of crazy is like, and I'm not attesting this to being a firefighter at all, but like, you know, I feel like that time in my life when I was like, I feel like in my prime, going through the service, it was like some of my most turbulent time, like personally, like outside of the department, you know. It was just turbulent, and I really feel like, looking back, obviously hindsight's 2020, right? Like we all have, you know, like we all wish we could, you know, look back and whatever, and oh yeah, I would definitely do this differently. It's easy to do that. It's easy to armchair quarterback, but you know, like I think part of the growth is acknowledging, like, oh man, you know, like I think that those two things were kind of interlinked, because it was like I was running real hot there at the job, and yeah, I was doing the job well, but also at the expense of like myself on the outside. Like I just didn't have really good coping skills. I didn't have a good way to like positively get that stress or that hurt or that anger or whatever it was out. You know, there were no good outlets, and the result of that is turbulence around you in your life, like, you know, and be it what it may, it's just, you know, it's a painful thing to acknowledge, but also like important to recognize, like we talked about earlier. Like, it's one of the hardest things for me personally is the people that we ran on, the calls that we ran on, the people that we served, the people that we lost on calls, whatever. It's like everybody wants to hear, what's your worst, you know? And it's like the worst calls, the worst things for me don't even come close to like losing a brother to suicide.
Right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, my career, my personal career is bookended by two guys I know taking their life. Like, the beginning of my career, I had an educator, a person that I looked up to, a person that I was relatively close to, ended up taking his own life. All right. And then I had a person near the end of my career, a really good buddy.
Was it Dangerfield? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Dustin.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not Dangerfield. But yeah, no. At the end of my career, same thing. Just a buddy, and you know, took his own life. And that's my career. It's like bookended with those two things. And I don't think that's by mistake. And it's almost like, you know, you go on a boat and you're in a channel and you have like the red sign and the green sign. You're like, go here, because if you go left or you go right, you're going to run aground or you're going to crash or whatever. It's like, that's how I look at it. I'm like, dude, it's a warning. It's like, for me, it's like a warning, you know, especially when things started to kind of go south for me internally and in my head and things. I'm like, okay, this is a warning, man. Like, that's very real. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like, I would never take my own life. I would never do that out of whatever for my kids or out of, I'm sure every single person that has taken their own life at some point said exactly the same thing, because I'm thinking of one chief right now in a department very close to us that took his own life with wife and kids. And you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to put people on blast like that, but you know, so I'm sure there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that pride, I'm sure. But dude, when you're staring on the other side of that thing and you got no way out and you're trapped in those thoughts, and it's like, dude, it's 3:15 in the morning and you're kicking and screaming, and like my wife's like trying to get me awake and I'm not awake, but I'm screaming and I can't figure out what's happening to me. And then I'm just like, you know, the panic takes over or whatever it is. Like, dude, you're trapped in that. You can't get out of that in that moment. And it's like, some people drown in booze. Yeah. Some people drown in drugs. Some people drown in sex. Some people drown in all this other shit, all this stuff that it's like maybe gives you a temporary dopamine kick. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, boom, you're right back into that box and you're trapped.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but like, if there's not a way for you to figure out a way to climb out of that, man, that's a dark road, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough, man. I think where people struggle that end up following through and like they just feel like they have no other way out. And I think it's sad because really, and it's very hard for even us to truly fathom and understand, because even though we might be a little bit more, like, I hate to say versed in it, but exposed to similar things, we still don't truly get it, right? But if I had to speculate, like, you just can't take it anymore. Like, it's gotten to the point where you literally can't see it anymore. And I'm not talking about the calls. You can't run the calls anymore. What I'm talking about is you can't run them through your head anymore. Like, it just is on repeat. And I don't know. I remember a particular call. For whatever reason, I had a stint of like bad kid calls. And I remember this accident with, I think it was 5 kids in a car, 5 teenagers. And, I'll touch on something else in a minute, but, it was just a bad accident. Flipped, car was racing, I think, or whatever, flipped end over end into a T-Mobile building, landed on its roof. 2 kids got ejected. Car landed on one of them. Like two or three of them died. This was like 10 years ago. And the one kid, I had to print a strip on the kid that was pinned under the car that was dead. And I remember thinking like it stuck with me. And I remember waking up several nights with that kid standing next to my bed. And I just remember thinking, holy cow, man. Like, I'm talking wake up, sit up in bed, and like, there he is. Mm-hmm. And we talked about like some of the coping mechanisms, like booze, whatever. Mm-hmm. I always found like myself, and I kind of stopped myself down the road, but I found myself like looking into the victim, if that makes sense. I would look for the news report. I'd look for the Facebook post. I'd try to find information on the person. And dude, as messed up as this sounds, like, like, Jesus forgive me, but it's like I was looking to find out, like, were they a scumbag? Like, is there, like, or was it that picture perfect family, like, where it just hurt that much more? And what's so sad about that is it's like, why does that make any difference? Like,
right.
we're, you know what I mean? Like, we're all people, right? But it's 100%. Like, it would like be a little less hard to take, finding out that, this family that drove into a pond in front of Valencia because they were arguing and killed their kids, and like the whole family's dead. It would be like, in my mind at that point, like, it would be easier to accept if they were just scumbags.
Right.
Versus like a family that's doing everything they can for their kids, and like they're just providing whatever. And it was a freak accident. Tire blew and they crashed into the pond. Right. And they were on their way to like their family. It was Christmas Eve. They're on their way to their family's Christmas Eve like celebration, and that happened. Versus like being high and like.
Right. It's a sign of your humanity. And I think it's like, man, your humanity starts to deteriorate the more you run on the scumbag, right? It's like the more you do that, the more you run on it, it's like your humanity just starts to go away. Yeah. It's like, I think we all start with a very high level of compassion. I'm just saying, because there is no other logical reason for you to do this job. Like, there's the job we're talking about, the business of being, we can put the helps in. It's okay. This shit's getting real. They don't need to hear this stuff. Give them nightmares. There's no other reason to do this job. There's no other reason other than you're built with a pocket of compassion and empathy inside of you. And that is a unique thing that I think, at least when we were going in there, and a lot of guys before me, like, that was what they started out with. Mm-hmm. And somewhere at some point, a little bit dwindles away, a little more dwindles away, a little more dwindles away. And like, I've seen a lot of guys go the distance and retire. And they are different, like really different than when they started. And it's like, you look at the photo, and I'm not, listen, man, I swear, I'm not trying to find just a bunch of excuses as why this, like, I believe that this shit is real. I believe that the stress and the toll and the grip that it puts on guys is very, very real. And I'm just, all I'm trying to do is just acknowledge that. I'm trying to acknowledge that and live in it. Like, if we just lived in it, like, we're better. Like, if I could, like my son today, like, if he just turned 18 and goes, Daddy, I want to be a firefighter. Obviously, I'm not going to say, no, you can't. I'm going to say, son, these are the things that you need to be prepared for.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
These are the things that you need to acknowledge. If your son was going to go in the military and, like, we're at war with Iraq or freaking North Korea or whatever the hell we're going to be at war with it soon, I'm sure, China or whatever.
Venezuela.
Like, yeah. Are they coming through with the birds or robo-birds?
Yeah, no, pigeons are actually
Venezuelan
FBI surveillance drones.
Oh my God, I love that. More to that later. We'll do that in hour 2. But no, like, no, but like what I was saying is, like, you're gonna say, like, no, you need to be prepared for this.
Yeah.
This is what you're gonna see. And if you're not cut for this, like, dude, this isn't your job.
Yeah.
This isn't your job. Like, all the people go, oh, best job in the world. You know what? One of the guys that I love the guy for, he was a mentor at my time, but one of the guys that kind of encouraged me to becoming a fireman after college was like, you know what, man? You know, the best thing about being a fireman is you get to do 10 other things. You can be in a band. You can play football. You can do this. You can do that.
I know
you know what I
so
mean?
well,
You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, man, you got so much time to do whatever. And I think about that guy often, and I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, I don't hang out with my kids. I'm just like staring at them, and they're looking back at me, and they're watching Bluey or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm in a glass case of emotion all the time. I'm super tired all the time. Like, I'm like, dude, I want to punch that guy in the face. But
it's interesting, like the generation coming up in the fire service, the ones that as we were going out, the ones that were coming in, and I was on the hiring committee, and so I got to see them come, and our crew often was tasked with a probie and would bring them up. And one of the things that was being talked about a lot in the last couple of years was this newer generation, like the guys that came in during 07, 08 when the market crashed and housing bubble and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You were fighting for a job against hundreds of men, not high school kids, not kids with a 1-year, 2-year degree from college that never did anything in their life. You were testing against grown men that worked in construction, that were strong, that had life skills, physical skill, like they could get stuff done.
That's right.
And those guys came to the fire service because of the pension and the secure paycheck and all the things, and they worked hard to get the jobs. Whereas now we're seeing a generation that's coming, and they're just kind of testing it out for a little while, and then they leave. And then, they don't care about the pension like the guys did before us. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the fire service has become kind of this thing, like it's not always this lifelong venture.
That's right.
And if anything from that, like I always kind of despise that. Like I always thought, like, these guys are coming, they're going to spend a couple years and then they're going to go and do whatever at like Starbucks. Like, okay, cool. Like I couldn't understand it. But as we're talking, I'm thinking like, if anything, those kids got one thing right. Like they're not married to this. Like they can go do anything else.
Yeah.
If it's not working, they are recognizing it. I'm dead serious. We have guys that were great and they just decided like it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
Like that's unheard of 15, 20 years ago.
100%. No, that's so true. That's a really great point. And I don't know if it's kind of like a gift and a curse, right? Because we see a lot of quit in kids today too, where it's like, part of that is like not just like, oh, well, I'm doing it out of the humility and the humbleness of myself. Like, oh, I'm not cut out for this, so I need to like humble myself and eat that and try to go back to the drawing board. It's just like, no, shit's hard. I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
I mean, know what I'm saying? Like, shit's hard.
Double-edged sword, like you said.
It is a double-edged sword for sure. But no, I definitely. And it has gotten much easier for people to bail when things get hard. I mean, God, right? We see that in marriage. We see it in work. We see it. Man. Dude, COVID just peeled. It was like the Wizard of Oz, man. It just opened the curtains, right? It just peeled back how people really are. Like when the chips are down on the table, this is how people are going to treat one another. Like this is a sign. This is a kid. Like, this is privy to what we're going to be exposed to more and more as we go in this thing called life years down the road, right? And what are our kids going to be exposed to? What's that going to look like? You know, God, hopefully the aliens come get us before then, man. I'm just like praying. I don't like the thought of like seeing my kid like grow old and like, man, that keeps me up at night now more than anything.
There's one promise, and that's that Jesus is returning. We just are hoping that it's sooner.
I call them aliens. It's Jesus. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
So,
no, you're right, man.
Should I kind of talk about like how I got here, where I'm at, like what?
Yeah, dude. So like just to put like a little book in, like I think that. Because this is really important, man. You know, like I told you my mission. I told you where this thing was kind of birthed out of. I think it's important to me, and I think it's important. Like we both see a lot of the same. We're on the same page with this. Like like in the time and the many conversations that we've had post like leaving out of the fire service, I don't think I've ever heard you say one disparaging thing about the fire department. Yeah. And I think that probably goes the same way, right? I think I haven't said anything negative or, you know, oh, well, I left because, you know, Brad or whatever took my shit and like, you know, or had to be on the rescue, boo-hoo. Like nobody cares. Like I don't care. They don't care. We don't care. Like that's not what it's about, dude. Like my mission is to just like, dude, maybe like just like peel back the curtain a little bit and just normalize some of the shit. Like, dude, like I'm hurting, man.
I think
I'm hurting, and I think it's normal to hurt, and it's normal to like go through and experience some of these things and talk about it and acknowledge it, and just hopefully, dude, like hopefully somewhere there's one person that goes, yeah, man, like I feel that, and you know maybe I was in that position or I felt like there was no way out for me, and you know what, like I hearing this, like I feel like that maybe there is.
Yes. So I think personally, I think that you and I are not psychologists, counselors, whatever else, right?
Nope.
But we are relatable in the sense that we did the job. We struggled with parts of the job, different things like that. But I do believe that because we're relatable, and if you share enough stories like this, like mine, like yours, like Gary, like, you share enough of those stories, like you start to see, like, it doesn't have to be a session with a therapist to get out or to get the relief or to get whatever, right? Like there's all these different avenues. And especially with the fire service, like there's you can get out. Like you don't have to stay the 30 years and get the drop and the pension. You can actually go out and do anything else and be even more successful and enjoy your life and all the things, right?
That's right.
And you and I are both living testimonies of that.
That's right.
And as hard as that was, and that's why I want to share, you know, about how I got where I am. Yeah. And I think you should do the same at some point. If it's not today, you should do the same at some point, because again, if we can't offer we don't have the medicine to cure it, but if enough people see and hear successful ways out, you know, and I don't know, I mean, I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't just leave because of the things I was struggling with. There was more to that story.
Yeah.
But.
And I think the right thing is, the right thing to do, at least in my mind, is to acknowledge that. Like, there are many conversations. Like, I left. I my last days were spent at Kissimmee. I left, and we continued to talk. And for like it was a couple years before you pulled out. Yeah. And I don't think there was ever a point anywhere where I was like, yeah, you need to leave. That's going to make you feel better. Like, it's not like that. You need to that's not for everybody. Yeah. And that's okay to say too. Right. Like, it's not for everybody to just say, you know what, like I'm done with this shit. And then I'm going to go do probably the hardest challenge I've ever do, like wake up unemployed every day. Cause that's what I do now. I wake up unemployed every single day and I have to make a choice. Like people go, oh, real estate, or you started your own business, or you did this. I was like, oh, it must be great. You know, like it's like the same shit. Right. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I wake up unemployed. You wake up unemployed every single day. And we have to decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my day. And this is how I'm going to at least try to chip away at that wall to make it successful. That's all we do. That's all I spend all my time doing. That's it. There's no like fucking magic sauce or anything any, like, I haven't read some like self-help book from Tony Robbins or something on how to make a bajillion bucks or whatever. Like, I'm not doing that, dude.
Right.
I'm just waking up every day and going like, you know what? I'm going to work today.
Mm-hmm.
That simple.
I mean, we live in a country that literally the sky's the limit. And as much work as you want to put in, and you can do literally anything. I mean, think about how people are making money these days. Like,
dude, we're on
ridiculous.
a podcast. We're literally in my home in a studio created to do just podcasts, and we're going to talk to thousands and thousands of people. They're going to hear this, and it's like, dude, we have the ability, and we can say whatever we want. We could say evil, vile shit, and people are going to hear it. But we're choosing to put something out there that's like, no, dude, like, this is authentic, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're giving you the real parts of ourselves. We're bearing, like, for lack of a better term, we're bearing our soul here, and we're letting the public, like, a multitude of people, decide how they feel about you. Like, that takes balls, dude. Like, that takes real balls, just like going into a house on fire does. Just like, like I all these people want to hate on content creators and whatever. Shout out OnlyFans if that's your thing. If that's what you do. Like, listen, man, if I had good toes, I'd be on OnlyFans.
Oh my God.
What do you do? You know you would too. Your feet are super hairy though, so nobody wants to see your nasty ass feet. But dude, my dogs, listen, bro. All right, we both know there for a fact there is a market out there for.
That's why I said the ways you can make money today are just absolutely wild.
Dude, shout out to those entrepreneurs too, man. They're out there.
They're unemployed.
Dude, they're just grinding, dude. Like, good for you, man. Good for you. But yeah, no, like, you're in an extraordinary spot. You had everything. You had the retirement. You had the health benefits. Your family was taken care of. You were on, arguably, in my humble opinion, one of the best crews in Central Florida. You had an amazing thing. And then you said, nope, like, there was a proverbial fork in the road, and it was left or right, and you went right. And now, like, to see what you do now, like, I just tell people about it. Go ahead. Like,
okay. So I'll give you the quick recap of the stuff that doesn't really matter, but it's like incremental to the grand scheme. Okay. So born and raised in Central Florida, came from a split home. Parents were divorced when I was 6 months old. Both lived local, spent weekends with my dad, whatever. I feel like, unfortunately, like, that's kind of the typical situation around, I was born in 88. Like, it seems like that was, like, not uncommon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
for sure.
So growing up, got to see two very different, I don't want to say upbringings, but environments. So my mom remarried and married, and my stepdad was very successful, and then my dad was a very successful chiropractor. So both very successful. Okay. Again, splitting time, custody, whatever. My mom, on my mom's side, I was primarily with my mom throughout the week and lived in a gated community, golf course neighborhood, very well-known neighborhood in the area. Went on amazing trips. I mean, got to see Italy, San Francisco, Napa Valley, like Maine, New York. Like, I mean.
Damn, son, I should have hung out with your family.
What's interesting is, like, not a lot of people know this, but it's very important to the story. Okay. So on the other side, on my dad's side, super successful, right? Lived on 5 acres, had a garden, drove an 88 Blazer with red cloth interior for, like, most of his career. I'm talking, like,
nice.
That thing was nasty.
Dude, that's awesome.
The only thing that was missing was cigarette smoke. Okay.
Oh, God, dude.
It was gray with red cloth interior. Anyway, and he was just very, like, he didn't need a lot.
Yeah.
And our vacations were fishing the flats, going offshore. We would go to the Bahamas, maybe, or not the Bahamas, but the Keys. I did go to Cayman with him, but that was when he got married to my stepmom. And so that's what the vacations looked like with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, the 5 acres, it was not like a grand house on 5 acres. It was in Black Hammock, which is a swamp.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was a nice house, a nice property, but it wasn't anything like extra. It wasn't 5 acres in a gated community. It was just 5 acres. What we would do on the weekends was split wood. And so what I'm getting at is, growing up, he had a little garage that had, woodworking tools and stuff. And his grandfather was a woodworker. So I guess technically I'm third generation, but so we would just do hobby woodworking, make a cabinet, piece of furniture for the house, whatever. So growing up, like, I just loved it. And I was built with Legos and stuff like that. So it just like fed that like inside me, and got to be creative, got to build. So I always loved it. So growing up, going through middle school and into high school, I realized like I want to be a woodworker. I want to be a cabinet maker. And started taking drafting classes in high school, learning like AutoCAD, all that stuff, all on my own. And I remember telling my mom one time, I want to be a cabinet. I want to own a cabinet shop. And she said, this was in high school. She said, you can't do that. You're not going to make any money. You got to go to school, be a doctor, or, get educated.
Mm-hmm.
At that time in my life, I thought, well, I guess that's what I got to do. And so my like solve for that, like my workaround back door, was I was just going to go do construction management or architecture. So graduated high school, barely. Got into Seminole State, barely. And decided I was going to take classes to become, learn AutoCAD and do either construction management and or architecture.
Yeah.
Did that for one, maybe 2 semesters. 2007, 2008, market crashes out. I'm like, well, this is a really dumb time to get into construction. Like, probably the worst time ever. So I pivoted.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to be a fireman too. And I had a brother-in-law who works for Orlando now. And he is like my brother. You know Matt.
Yep.
The guy is my brother.
Love
like,
that guy.
Not by blood, which sometimes is the best. Right.
Yeah.
And so he and I are still close. And he's no longer technically my brother-in-law. Hasn't been my technical brother-in-law for like 10 years, but the guy's my brother, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, he really inspired me. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a fireman. And I looked up to that guy. He made me the fireman I was.
Yeah.
Owe it all to him. And so anyway, went to school to be a fireman. Got out of fire school. Took 4 years to get a job. I already explained that or said that, mentioned it earlier.
Sure.
Got hired on. This is 2012, I think I finally got hired. In the Villages, did a year and a half there. Had volunteered there before that, and then ended up getting a job at Kissimmee.
What color loofah were you in the Villages?
That's another podcast.
Well, totally different podcast. So just for the record, man, I don't think people really understand this too much. Like, this is another thing that goes largely untalked about when we talk about that time, because I was in that same time frame as you. When we're talking about, like when you see a job like right now on Indeed, it's like, oh, hiring for this or whatever. You just like throw your app in and hopefully they call you. When you're a fireman, you go to test. And those days, you're testing with 300 to 400, 500 people, depending on the department, maybe more. And there's like 2 positions. And you're just like looking in the room and you're like praying to God nobody was in the military.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's the same color as you. Like all the same stuff. You're like looking left and you're looking right. Okay, hopefully there's no women in the room. Oh, you see 2 girls. You're like.
I remember testing for Orlando when the old Amway Arena.
Yeah.
And the line wrapped around the building 1.5 times.
Yeah.
And that was in 2009,
yeah.
2010. I mean.
Dude, the chief walks out like he's like a rock star. He's like, I just want to thank everybody for coming.
Dude, the test was on the floor of the arena.
It's insane.
Like, and they had 2 different test times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's insane, man. And so we both were in the same. And my story was actually is different than yours, and we can go through that. But I want to let you continue. But yeah, so just so people know, like this is not an easy thing. Like it's
changed a lot.
It goes in waves where it's like I know guys before me that were like they're like, oh, you do construction, you'd make a great fireman, you're hired. You know what I mean? Or like whatever. And it's kind of like I look at the A-list now. The A-list is like where all the jobs are, and it's like. Dude, departments are like, dude, we will give you a free Suburban.
Yeah, dude, that's so accurate. Dude, so
free Suburban if you come work for us.
They changed the entire shift schedule, try to get people to come apply.
They're like, you will work less if you come be a fireman. Like that's how crazy it is now.
Ebbs and flows.
And yeah, man, it's insane. But anyway, sorry, continue.
No, so I mean, long story short, I ended up getting hired at Kissimmee in 2014. And did 10 years there, just over 10 years. And during that time, I was a medic on a rescue, busiest rescue in the city. This is for anybody listening that works at Kissimmee. This is when Kissimmee had one rescue at Station 11, and we had one medic, and I was it.
Dude, if we had a call-in service right now, we'd have a couple people calling in going, "You suck." Quit whining.
Oh, yeah.
I can hear Broberg right now just going,
dude,
"Oh,
yeah.
dude." I can hear him right now.
Everybody misses David. Rescue David.
Rescue David was a thing, dude.
So anyway, but that's actually an important part of the story because I was the only medic for a while on Rescue 11, and I made my bed in that department early. And I mean, not a good bed. I had a bad attitude. I had a chip on my shoulder. I was never in uniform, shirt untucked, didn't have a belt, pants tucked into my boots. I looked terrible. I was bad at it. I mean, it just was not a good thing. Did that, had that like MO for probably 2.5, 3 years. And never didn't do the job well. Like I was always passionate about being a fireman, and I always want to be a good fireman. And I want to be reliable. But as far as attitude and whatever, like I just didn't carry myself well. So fast forward a little bit, tested for engineer, and I already said it, like I barely graduated high school, barely got into Seminole State Community College, which at that time it was Seminole Community College. And it was time to test for engineer, and I studied my butt off. I mean, I wanted it. I've never wanted anything that hard or that bad. And I tested one, I think I got first out of maybe 13, and I got first by like several points, which was wild. Like it was really cool to see what I could actually do if I applied myself. And so became engineer, loved every part of it, wanted to be a really good engineer. And I always like, for anybody that is in the fire service or was in the fire service can understand and respect this. I wanted and strived, like my goal in my career was to be that senior engineer. I wanted to be the guy that a new lieutenant would promote to, and you would be the senior engineer that would help groom him to be the lieutenants that were before him. And you'd go on a fire alarm at 3 a.m. downtown Kissimmee, where it's like a maze, and you just know where the fire panel is, like, because you've been around. Like, that was what I wanted. I didn't want to climb the ladder. I didn't care to be promoted. I didn't want to be a ride-up lieutenant or a lieutenant. And so, you know, I realized I had some lieutenant changes and had good lieutenants in my career, had bad lieutenants, this department and the other department. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you always pull the good and the bad from everybody you work with or around or whatever.
Sure.
Not even just in the fire service. But anyway, so after you're an engineer for a while, they want you to ride up as lieutenant. And I pushed back. I didn't want to be ride up lieutenant. I wanted to focus on being an engineer. I wanted to be good at my job before I start learning how to do anybody else's job. And I pushed back and I pushed back. And then there was a lieutenant change. I started working with Jeff Boer. Best lieutenant in the department, hands down.
By far.
Okay. Most level-headed, even keeled, knew his job, did it well. And he kind of helped me see the light, because I kept telling him, I don't want to be an engineer. I mean, I don't want to be a lieutenant. I want to be an engineer. I just want to focus on my job. I don't want to focus on everybody else's job. And he finally said, like, dude, you need to realize, like, once you become a ride-up lieutenant and you see your position from my perspective and you see what you need as a lieutenant because of the engineer that's driving you that day, you will become a better engineer. And I'm like, oh, all right, you sold me, right?
Yep.
But then I realized I'm kind of a piece of crap. Like, I have a bad attitude. I'm not in uniform, and I'm supposed to be the guy that's telling everybody else to get in shape and tuck their shirt in, when my shirt's never tucked in, and nothing bothered me more than like the guy that walked around barking orders or policy but never was following it.
And Lord knows you definitely weren't in shape. So
definitely not. That's still a work in progress. I just haven't started yet.
But you still ain't in shape.
So that's what I said. Some things are just not meant to change. Okay.
Dude, Nachos Dave is Nachos Dave is a legacy.
We did have
a legacy.
Nachos for like 7 shifts in a row.
I always loved, this is one of my favorite things. Sorry, not to sidetrack, but one of my favorite things that I always loved about you is, like, if we had a vice, man, and we bonded over that vice, it was like, yeah, cool. Like, yeah, absolutely. We do want to buy like obnoxious amounts of cheese, just shitty food,
dude,
put it over a huge plate. Like, yeah,
we were eating donuts with queso. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember.
We had pulled pork nachos. Oh man, we ate good.
It's so obnoxious.
We ate good.
Dude, the Trimax,
Trimax nachos.
So when you're probationary, it's kind of like you have a niche, right? So, the thing for me is like I spent over 10 years at Kennedy Space Center at NASA and started my career over at Kissimmee, which is like it's a hard thing to do, man. It's a hard thing to like start over and whatever. And I mean, so I did that, and I'm at Kissimmee and I'm probationary. Even though I have that time, I'm acting like a probationary firefighter.
It's hard to start over.
Yeah, and part of that is like, doing the dishes, cleaning, doing whatever, offer up like to cook, to do all those kind of things. Yeah. And so one of the times I offered to make the crew like steak and chicken like nachos or whatever. And there was there was like we were putting them in the smoker or doing whatever, and we needed a spray bottle to spray like it was, I forget, we were spraying something. Oh no, it wasn't nachos, it was the pulled pork. We were doing the pulled pork, and I needed a spray bottle to spray the apple juice over the pulled pork. That's what it was. And and we have this cleaner in the firehouse called Trimax, and so my dumb brain, I thought it was a good idea to dump all the Trimax out of the bottle because we didn't have a bottle anywhere else, and I put apple juice in it and spray the pulled pork with the Trimax bottle full of apple juice. Listen, now, to be fair, I did clean that sucker out really well. I put a lot of soap in it. Sure. And Trimax is a cleaner. So there was like, it was really clean.
When we all go in for like testicular cancer.
But I 100,000% fed my crew Trimax pork, and it went over the nachos. That's what it was.
Didn't I mail you a bottle of Trimax after you had left?
Yeah. I held on to that thing as long as I could. I know we need to put it up on the court. No, for sure. Like, it's with the half axe from NASA, and I held on to those things. I'm gonna put the half axe. I'm gonna put some of that stuff. I gotta put some firefighter stuff up in here. We gotta get this thing looking right next to the Florida man. We gotta put some firefighter stuff. But anyway, yeah, dude, the Trimax thing, and it's like, that's just like, those are some of the best things ever, because you're just a total dumbass, and we love you anyway. And that's like, those are just some of the bright spots. But anyway, I'm sorry, man.
No, so those are definitely the memories that they'll never go away. Like, those laughs, man. And that's one thing about the fire service, not to go like off on a tangent or stay on this tangent, but like, dude, though, that brotherhood part of it, like that fraternity, frat house environment, like we talked about earlier, like, just miss it,
Yeah, man.
There's nothing else like it.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel emotional talking about it right now. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
It's tough because you immediately go in your mind to like some of those things and some of the things you really miss. And dude, my life lessons, some of the things that I will literally take with me to the grave. Like, I learned in the chair, in a firehouse, in front of a chief, dude, or in front of a lieutenant like Jeff Boer. Jeff Boer's one of them where we've had talks, and dude, the day I said I was leaving, the day I said it was over, was with you and Jeff Boer, and just like me being just a
vulnerable,
complete wreck, and just scared out of my mind. And I'm like, what am I doing? But also like, you got to do this, but like, what am I doing? And you guys were just there, and you saw me, and you didn't like treat me like a piece of shit. You didn't like disparage me or say, God, I hate you, or what, none of this, whatever. You guys looked at me like as a brother with empathy.
I remember being heartbroken. I didn't want to see you go, man.
No, I know.
I don't see anybody go.
No, I know.
Whether it's retirement or just because life, but
well, yeah, and that's the hard thing to fully get across and grasp is like, most of the time when people leave, when they leave the service, and this is my experience, I might be wrong, but when you're like my age or you're younger or whatever, you leave, most of the time it's not because there's a good reason. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bad reasons why you are no longer a firefighter, and sometimes they end up on the news and sometimes they don't, but you know what I mean? Like, there was no bad reason for me to leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I was in the crew. I was well liked. I liked everybody there. Like, we were all good. Yeah. Everything was good. And so I feel like when I sat down and we had that talk, it was kind of like out of left field, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like that because it definitely felt like that for me. So I'm sure, like, from the outside looking in, you're probably like, what the fuck, So Yeah, man. So you're in my opinion an amazing engineer, dude. You're an amazing engineer. I could see that from the time that I was there. I had a profound amount of respect for you, even in the time that I was there. And you're doing the thing. You're on the truck. You're on the tower, like Tower 11, America's favorite truck company. That's what we went by.
Right.
I literally have a
Let's
picture.
go.
I'm gonna put that picture up. America's favorite truck company. Like that's what I'm talking about, dude. Anyway, so you're doing that. You're doing the thing.
Yeah. So, kind of to recap, like decided like, all right, I do need to be a ride-up lieutenant. And before I could start that ride-up lieutenant training, I had to get myself like straightened up, and spent probably 3 to 6 months straightening up my act in uniform. Pants zip or boots zip, pants not tucked into the boots, belt, like looking right, playing the part so that, and let me tell you something, it is way easier to make your bed right the first time than have to remake because you never live it. Like it takes, you have to work at it your entire career to fix your piss poor attitude that you had in the first year or two.
That's so true.
You make your name very early on in the fire department. I would tell new hires all the time, because I'm speaking from experience. I'm not saying I was the best role model. I'm speaking from experience. I have had to work so hard to fix what I did. And so anyway, so during the time of starting to do the ride-up lieutenant stuff, Boer basically started teaching me some leadership stuff. And at the time, I had not really studied leadership. It has become one of my favorite things. So we started, he was listening to Jocko. If you don't know Jocko is a Navy SEAL that essentially wrote several books, has a podcast, and he travels the country teaching giant corporations and huge CEOs servant leadership or extreme ownership. And it was life-changing for me.
This guy posts on Instagram every day a picture of his watch, and it's like at 4:38 or 4:36 or something every single day. He does not miss, dude. That guy.
He says it's 5 a.m. and you don't want to get up to work out. Good.
That guy's an animal.
Me and Boer used to say that, like we'd get up for midnight call or whatever, and we look at each other and be like, I want to do this. We'd be like, good. It was ongoing. So
Jocko's awesome.
But anyway, so I started listening to that, and I don't want to say I immediately bought in, because I came up early in my career with lieutenants that were not the quote unquote servant leader. Boer was. But I witnessed early in my career lieutenants that were that old school, stand back. They don't lift a broom. They don't lead from the front in a sense. And it was a completely different mindset. And then once I saw the light, and really here's what flipped the switch for me. Lieutenant Boer handed me a book one day. And again, you heard my situation. Like I did not study. I studied for the engineer test, but that was the first time I ever really studied in my life. He handed me a book. I don't read books. I listen to books if I want to, and I'll listen to a podcast, but I don't read books.
You'll listen to like the first part of a book?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you're like 17 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
That's cool. So he handed me a physical book, not an audio book, a paperback book. It's probably 200 pages. It was called The Servant. Changed my life. That was the tipping point. That was the beginning, I should say. And I realized, and this book basically talks about servant leadership, and it's, I don't know the right word terminology, but it's like, I don't know if it's third person, first person, fiction, whatever the right words are, but basically it's a guy that, ends up learning servant leadership. And one of the most interesting things it talked about in that book, I still remember it, is how to be a good listener. And when people, like typically, like right now, if you were talking, all I would typically be doing is thinking about what my response is going to be. They're not actually thinking about what you're saying, which is crazy. But that was a really interesting part of the book. But anyway, fast forward. So read The Servant, started listening to Jocko, ended up reading, or actually I listened to Extreme Ownership, and then I did the Dichotomy of Leadership, did all the Jocko stuff. And dude, I learned so much. Okay. So fast forward, stayed the course, like just, focused on being a good engineer, and did it for 7 years and loved every second of it. 2020 comes around. January 2nd of 2020, I broke ground on a giant addition for my house. And the fire service at that time, I'm rocking it, dude. I'm not running training, but doing training. Like I'm an instructor doing training, doing rope tech, whatever, like all the different things. Teaching new hires. Like I'm in the thick of it. Like I'm in decent shape at that point. Like had been.
You're in okay shape.
Yeah, I mean,
you're in okay shape.
If we could, if like we look at now, then.
Like let's not get crazy with the story. Like I told you, we need to be honest here. So like,
everybody's gonna go back and look at my like.
I'm
Facebook,
gonna post like I'm gonna post like
hold on.
I'm gonna post a graphic, photo of you.
This isn't lining up.
It's gonna be a super unflattering one too. Like you walk out at 2:30 and you got like one flip flop on, and you're like you're like
belly sticking out or something.
For sure, I love that.
So anyway, so just to kind of give you a glimpse at that point in 2020, like I'm just full steam ahead fire service, loving it, right? 2020, January 2nd, 2020, break ground on an addition, 2,000 square foot addition to my house. 3 months before that, I'm like, I'm going to do an addition. I had talked to a GC, got plans, everything's good, like got a proposal, and Boer, who built houses for a little bit with his uncle, he's like, what are you doing, dude? Just do it yourself. And I'm like, what? He's like, bro, it's not hard. Like, we could do it. I'll do it with you. It's fun.
Yeah, it's not hard because you're Jeff Boer.
Yeah. So 2,000 square feet under roof. Okay.
Yeah.
We do it ourselves.
That's awesome. Dude.
Broke ground, took 3 sides of my house off with a skid steer and a grapple. And dude, I'm not lying. Like I ripped the front of my, I had to trench cut my roof and cinder block all the way down to foundation and ripped it off with a grapple. Pulled it forward, ripped off the side of the garage with a grapple, whole side of the house with a grapple, with block and everything, and then ripped the back side of the house off. Okay, and then started the addition. It took me like 9 months, crushed it. But dude, and I did everything myself. I didn't like hire subs. I did it all. I did hire a few things.
You hired me to lay sod. I remember that.
Oh, dude, I wasn't even gonna bring that up.
Dude, that was miserable, man.
I'm still fighting that.
Fighting what? The sod? Or
the sod.
The fact that you literally didn't pay nobody.
There is no sod
you hired a bunch of firemen and you bought like 6 chicken wings. You didn't literally like we each got like a chicken wing and a half. You promised pizza.
Sure
there was no pizza.
Dude, you showed up like when the chicken wings came and then you left early. And the problem is you left me with Broberg and Phil, and the sod was 50% overlapping itself. I ran out of sod.
Like they weren't even doing the sod right. They were throwing it down. They weren't kicking it. They were doing.
He was literally just okay. We have Broberg, who literally is the only thing he's good at is being a fireman. That's it. And he's the most unathletic. Like playing foursquare out back. That was painful to watch. Dude, he was throwing sod, but had never thrown sod in his life, and there was no like if the kid had to do a puzzle, he would have failed. How
could you be such a good fireman? Like I've seen him move in ways that I'm like, yeah, my body ain't moving that way. Yeah. And he goes to the foursquare and gets absolutely like uncoordinated, like worse than a baby giraffe. Like Broberg was terrible at foursquare.
Yeah.
You put black magic on that kid, it was lights out, dude. He didn't know what to do.
Dude could talk some smack though.
Oh man, he could talk.
I'm still recovering from most of those days.
Broberg had your number, dude.
He could get me, man. There were some days I just had to tap out. Like I had to just go on my bunk and just hang. Like, dude, you wouldn't see me for like 18 hours.
Yo, when David disappears, man, you. Dude, you know,
problem is, as soon as they smell blood, bro, you're out.
You're done. That's it. You can't show, and man, it's part of it. I don't know, but it's such a when it's fun, it's fun. You can't.
Yeah. Well, it's fun when it's not, especially when you're like part of it, but it's not at you.
Yeah. When you're not in the middle of it, and you're getting it, because I've been on both sides of that. I've been on both sides of that. Trust me. And when the hot light's on you, man, like woo, that light is.
The smart ones stay out of it by instigating and starting. And have fire at somebody else.
That's right.
And then they're never part of it.
Like some of the best ones that were like really good at it, they would come in with that one-liner and then they would fade off into the mist. That's the best. Like that's the best firefighter position. We talk about seats in the fire in the fire engine. That's the best seat to be in, because you come in, you hear mumbles and grumbles in the kitchen. You come in and you go, yeah, man. I saw the way he was looking at her too, and that looked a little sketchy. Fade off into the mist.
Just drop
or like in our instance, this was a fun one. In our instance, in our crew, you hear mumbles and grumbles in the office, and you walk in and go, Yeah, I think I heard something somewhere. The Earth is flat. The Earth is definitely flat.
Dude, you could ignite the most rampant fire of arguing by something like that. Like 15 guys at one table, that's a lot of different personalities and dude,
my favorite thing in the world, like I said, is the meme, the Charlie meme from It's Always Sunny, where he's like pointing to all the stuff on the map or whatever. I'll never forget. One of my favorite memories ever is the like multi-hour between calls, go on a call, come back, go pick up again. The Earth is flat argument, dude.
On the whiteboard.
Dude, on the whiteboard. We're talking, we had the chief
Diagrams.
involved. Oh, dude, it was like head man was going to have to be called at some point because it was getting pretty intense. And you know what? There were some hot opinions and they were not quite smart.
What was the best is when Dodd would leave, like he would give up or whatever. He'd leave, which he never did. He never actually gave up, but he would like leave and then he'd walk like 15 steps down the hall and he would turn around. You know what? Like, actually... Like, it would just come back, dude. That was the best.
Oh my God, that was the best ever. You know what? Okay, so Dane Farmer is the guy that comes to mind when I'm talking about the guy that says the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then backs up.
He was great.
He was so good at that, dude. He just says the thing, and it's like the match to just... And then you just watch the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He was so good at that. But yeah, Dodd, oh my God. We had a full-on debate about whether the Earth was flat. We were talking about, and so like I'm a seafaring captain, and I'm like, dude, like we're debating whether or not like when you go, the further you go out in the ocean, like people get smaller, and I'm like, yeah, that's because the curvature of the Earth, and it was like no, and we're literally drawing dumb planets on the whiteboard to, like,
with lines,
show the lines. Like,
yeah,
it's so stupid, dude.
You know what's great too is like. You could see, like, you would argue it so well that, like, they would come around and be like, hold on, I gotta... You'd go the other way. Like, you would pivot and start arguing back. You know what was great at that is Dodd.
Dude.
He would argue to the death, and then at the end, he'd be like, that's exactly what I was saying.
You're like, what?
Dude, I hope he listens to this.
Shout out Chief Dodd, man.
We love you.
We love you so much. All right, man. So you,
we're back on track.
God, we need another pot. The 2 hours goes fast, man. I'm telling you. But so I want to get to this because it's really important. So you're in leadership. You're growing. You're glowing. And this is kind of at the time where I came in to cross. I mean, I knew you in the Fools and all that stuff prior, but this is where I really started to see you. And so I can attest to that. I feel like your attitude, your effort, all that stuff was there. You were into training the new guys. You were into doing all the right things.
Right. So I'll fast forward after the construction, after the addition, like it lit a fire again for that building inside me and started to do some stuff on the side. That started about 2020, 2021. Thought I was going to do like, baseboard, crown, bathrooms, whatever.
Our favorite years, by the way.
Yeah.
COVID.
Dude, those were the days. So anyway, fast forward, kind of started doing that thing on the side. And like, if you know me, this is not the first time I started a business on the side. I'm like a serial entrepreneur. I've owned multiple businesses. This just happens to be the first one that's successful.
I just graduated high school, barely.
Yeah. So, anywho, so, decided I'm going to start doing that on the side and started doing it. Still dreaming, loving the fire department, whatever. And then come about 2022, 2023, I started wrestling. So I'm not going to go through all the calls, but there was a handful, probably more than a handful, of really bad calls. We lost a couple cops. We lost a lot of kids, like a lot of stuff. And I have 3 kids. And at that time, they were very young. So anywho, started struggling with, I don't like to call it PTSD. I know that the fire service does, but I think it takes away from the guys that like actually have PTSD, like
Sure.
that fought in war and saw their buddy next to them blow up. That to me is PTSD, and I say that out of respect for those guys.
Yeah, I get that.
But not to downplay like anybody that is in the fire service that's dealing with it. Okay, but anyway, so started dealing with just struggling with like seeing my kids differently, like we already talked about, and just some of the struggles associated with that. And talked to people, went to UCF Restores, ended up finding out that just like praying and giving it to the Lord is what worked for me the most. And it would come in ebbs and flows, ups and downs, highs and lows. You'd go 2-3 months, not a problem, and then you'd just be in a funk for a couple weeks, and you just can't figure it out. You can't understand it. And so I remember, and I even reached out to one of our chiefs and was talking to him about it. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not suicidal. I don't have zero interest in taking my life. I'm just kind of trying to figure this out. You know, I'm not gonna say there was any help or not help, but what?
No.
Oh, okay. So you look like you're about to say something.
No. I'm just looking at you.
Okay. So, you know, fast forward a little more. The year is 2023, January 2023. I come home off shift. I think it was just a normal 24. Nobody's home. And I come home and I'm just like in the thick of it. I'm like in a low and couldn't get out of it. And I get home and I'm literally in the bathroom of my house and I fall down to my knees and I basically just cried out to God. And I said, like, I need to know what you want from me, because like this isn't working. I need you to like take this from me. And if it's not taking it from me, like if I'm supposed to be doing something different, I need you to show me, like, and show me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. Looking back from that moment on, I have the date saved. I want to say it was January 21st. From that moment on, I can look back and pinpoint areas in my life where God started moving. I mean, dude, there's no like, well, maybe like you could correlate this and that. No. So to give you background, my wife had started praying the month before that, trying to, you know, I've always been in church, but never really like had a relationship with the Lord. It just kind of went to go. I was saved at 14 at a Baptist church. Well, it was non-denominational, but it was more Southern Baptist than anything. But anyway, saved, believed, but never really had a relationship with the Lord. So, and even at this time. So my wife had been praying for the month before that, and I had no idea. She had it journaled, and that's how I know this. She ended up showing it to me. She had been praying that I would become a spiritual leader and that I would build a relationship with the Lord and all these things. So, had that fall down to my knees moment. And a week later, like somebody invited us to this other church and we had been going to this one. And it was like, no, I don't want to uproot. Don't want to do this. Don't want to do that. Like, let's just go where we're comfortable. Like, I know that, whatever. We ended up going to try it. And it was life-changing. Pastor was amazing. Got involved, started building a true relationship with the Lord and focused on that. And then really started feeling over time, over the next year, felt like God was pulling me in a different direction. I'm not saying that God spoke to me and I had this like divine intervention of like, you will do something different. It was just, I felt God tugging on my heart. Like all of a sudden, the job that I fought so hard for and the job I loved so much felt like it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And so I battled with that struggle, just kept moving on. And after about like 6 months of that, I finally told my wife, I'm like, I feel like God's telling me like, I need to do something different. Like, I don't know what God's voice, and she even said, she's like, how do you know what God's voice sounds like? You don't even have a relationship with him.
Morgan Freeman.
Exactly.
That's what I would.
Yeah.
Because you automatically did the basic. Like, that's Morgan Freeman, dude. Anyway, sorry.
So, and I realized like, you know what, she's right. And so I started focusing on that more. And long story short, it just became more and more prevalent. And it got to the point where it was crippling because I was at the point where I was like, God, if that's what you really want me to do is build this business and leave the fire department, which makes zero sense. Like it makes zero worldly sense to leave a job that you're making decent, I thought good money, time off, pension, all the things we talked about. Mm-hmm. Who would leave that for some uncertain like cabinet business? So anyway, it just became more and more prevalent. Like it's what I was supposed to do. And I'm like, there's no way. Like who does that? Who leaves a engineer on a truck company? Like great, well, all the things, right? I was like, if that's the case, like you're gonna have to make it blatantly obvious. I'm talking like billboard obvious. And it just got more and more like severe in my face. And then one day the bottom fell out, dude. Like so much work fell in my lap and I've never had to advertise. We have built this business and we've doubled every year for 4 years in a row. And I've never advertised. And I'm not like patting myself on the back. I'm just saying like,
when you say when you never advertised, what do you mean?
I never, yeah. So In businesses in the past, like I had a pressure cleaning business, dude, I had to work so hard to get that phone to ring. I paid $2,000 a month for Google AdWords just to get the phone to ring. I've never had to do anything remotely like that. Now I do have an Instagram and I do post, good looking things on there so that people can, that's just the way the world is now. It's like they go there to validate a business, right? So I am active on that, and we get some work from Instagram, but I'm not paying in advertising and marketing our company.
But your success is from word of mouth,
Correct.
sphere, and referrals.
Correct.
So people that know you, that trust you, that will continue to work with you.
Correct.
Dude, that is, in my opinion, there is no better way.
I agree 100%.
There is no better way to do business. There's no better way. In our world, same thing. People pay for these leads. They pay for this. They pay for that. Dude, I have 15 people call me a day. They're going, hey, I can get you verified leads. I can get you this. I can get you that. I can get you the Lamborghini. I can get you that, whatever. Like, sorry, bitch, I already rode in a Lamborghini. I don't need that. But no, like, it's, dude, all day long. Leads, whatever. But, like, what about, like, your neighbor? What about the person, like, you just, like, like, had coffee with? Like, I literally just went and had breakfast with a past client today. He's not buying anything today. He's not buying anything tomorrow. He's not looking to sell or do anything. It's just that those relationships are cultivated exactly that way. And then that is how you keep clients forever and keep referring. Correct. So that is what you're referring to. And I think that's amazing.
And what side note on that is, a lot of the times when you do market and advertise and you get those leads or the discovery calls or whatever else you want to call it, the close ratio is statistically less because those people are just kind of responding to your marketing versus the people that are word of mouth, referral, or already in the circle, the designers, the builders that you're working with already that know
there's an intrinsic need.
100%. They came looking for you and they sought you out because of whatever reason. And they've already technically, I hate to say technically, like they've already kind of like committed mentally, like this is who I want. Now, if you come in with a bid that's like 3 times what they thought, like maybe, it's another story, but they're not fishing. Typically, our clients are not fishing for 3 or 4 bids. Like they're coming to us because of the product that we offer.
That's right.
So, and
you know what, man, dude, say it 10 times louder for the people in the back, because you know what, in your business, what you do is like, bro, like me and my wife lay in bed late at night and we're, if we're doing the social media thing or whatever, like we see your page and we see your work and we like get excited. We're like, ooh, oh man, David's got a new post. Let's see what he's drawing. Let's see what he's thinking up, what he's dreaming up today. And like, dude, we're blown away by like the way your things look, the way that you show them, just the execution that you have. And it's not just like your post, but it's like you're crafting, dude, you're like uber talented, man. Like it's like, it's like a musician writing a song. Like that's what it looks like to me. It looks like, it's like your tools aren't pen and paper. Your tools are a saw and like, whatever. And now you're big money. So your tools are like a drafting machine with a 3D, like, like all that shit. But like, no, like really, dude, like it's what you're doing is so niche. And what's crazy is like being talented and being able, because you are talented. You're not just a good business dude. Like you are like legitimately talented, and being talented isn't enough. Like it's not enough. Like you just being good at something, like, oh, I can make great woodwork or I can do whatever and I have an eye for this stuff. Like, no, like you have to understand exactly what we just talked about. Like, okay, I'm going to turn this thing into a business. Now you have to be good at business. Dude, now you have to understand that side of it. Now you have to understand people. You have to understand how to talk to people, how to engage with people, how to, when people give you objection, how to acknowledge that, how to pay your taxes, like all this other shit that, dude, like it's like I love that you love how to like woodwork, but like here's 27 other things that you got to be good at to be successful.
So that's actually where I'm heading, is because with this, the whole story is that, 90, probably 8% of the guys that are in woodworking or cabinetry that own the business got there because they loved building. They loved the craft, not because they're business owners and entrepreneurs and have business sense. And that's where a lot of these guys cripple. They either stay small, 1 or 2 man show, or they struggle to keep business going, or they don't have, all those things. So, ultimately end up, to kind of summarize a little bit, deciding like, okay, like God showed me like it's time for me to go. The work is coming in and it's too much for me to continue to commit to. I either have to stop committing to work or leave. And kept going for a little bit longer, got my 10 years, waited another month or two, and I was like, all right, it's time. And I just felt like at one point, it's like, all right, this is it. And so put my notice in. And like I said, that last shift was just, dude, this is the hardest day ever. I don't want to say it's the hardest day of my life, but it was right up there. And so went full send. And when I talk about scary, like I have 3 kids, I have a house, we got car payments, we got whatever, right? My wife stays home, had been staying home and still stays home. Like there was no safety net.
No safety net, and failure is not an option.
Correct. And so ultimately, yes, I do believe that I am talented in what I do, from the woodworking side of it to, a little bit of the business side too. But there's no doubt in my mind that I am where I am because of the Lord. And I think that this business is successful because I followed him, and I give it all back to him. If you look at my Instagram, it's a constant testimony. And I pray that I never become the guy. I mean, we built a following. I don't know how or why, like it was never in my cards. Like I never thought I would have a following, and my wife used to make fun of me. She stopped making fun of me when the sponsorships and the affiliate deals and all that stuff happened. But
that's right.
Point is, like, I'm using that platform, yes, to validate my business, but also to share my testimony and to spread the word. And it's not in your face. I just give glory to God. And the business on the homepage says, like, we are a Christ-centered business. So I think that's, I give all of our success to that, not anything I necessarily did. And I don't know what the future, like, I don't know. We're going to keep growing. I mean, I don't know what the deal is, but what I was going to get at with the whole leadership part of it and all this stuff, like we just said, guys get into the business because they love the craft, not because they're business owners or leaders or any of that stuff. I always like to use the analogy that I feel like when God has a plan for you, right? Like, so I'm talented, let's say, in building and woodworking and whatever else, right? God plants that seed, has that talent, and he's going to use it for his good, to glorify him. And let's say I knew early on I wanted to be a cabinet maker, but I was told, no, you can't do that. You got to go to school. All right. So I always look at like God's plan as like a GPS. And if you ever look on a GPS, like you don't make the turn when it says make a right turn, and you just go straight, and it's like, oh, all right. And it reroutes you like, yeah, you could turn here now. Sure. And then you just keep going. It's like, no. Eventually you get back on course. I like to think of it like that, like as a GPS. And so I kind of veered left when I was supposed to go right, I think, in my life. Ended up going in the fire service. And I think none of it's a surprise to God. But I think God ends up using that, right? And so my point is, like, there is no doubt in my mind I would not be as effective of a business owner or leader in my organization if I didn't have that time on in the fire department. Sure. If I didn't get that leadership, mentorship from Boer, if I didn't have that influence and see what good lieutenants were like and bad lieutenants were like, I can tell you right now, dude, I have guys in my company, almost everybody that works for me doesn't have to be here. They took pay cuts to come. I've got guys that, dude, I could tell you, like, there's guys that took sacrifices, almost all of them. I'm talking like 7 out of 8 of them took sacrifices to come and join our team. And that says a lot. And I'm not trying to like make them not make, my goal is to have everybody be 110% wages, like 110% of the going rate, if not more. I want people to, anyway, that's another story, but
yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a great testament. It's like much like the servant leader and the type of the quality of leader draws and attracts a certain person. Mm-hmm. We see that a lot in like the crew that we worked for. It's like, I knew like in a very, very, very short time, I'm like, that's the guy I want to be by. That's the guy I want to learn from. That's the guy I want to talk to. That's the guy that I want to be around because he's a mover and a shaker. That guy it just exudes like when you have that. And I'm not just talking about just firemen. I mean, dude, you could be fucking like manager at Costco or whatever. And it's like, you know what I mean? And you're doing your job well and you're leading people and, you know, whatever. It exudes. Like you see those, you know what I'm talking about. You see those people, dude, you go into Costco and you got they got the sports jersey on and the tag and they're real happy and they're drawing little smiley faces on everybody's receipts and they're ate up, man. They're ate up like we were ate up on a fire engine. They're ate up and they're just stoked to do their job. And dude, you work at Costco. That's cool. That's fine. But like leadership is leadership, man. Those qualities can be in anybody. And there's something about that. It's like a magnet for effective. There's just a way in bringing out the best in people if you have those qualities. Like for me and you, like I was in no way, shape, or form the best fireman at any time in my career ever. I was never the number one guy. I was never the guy that everybody looked to and goes, damn, I want to be like him when I grow up, or I want to be like him this point in my career. I guarantee that never happened. But maybe one guy, but you got those guys, they got the chin. Like I think of Baz and like some of those guys that do their jawline's perfect and all that stuff. They're downtown
Chiseled.
truck. Just
Chiseled
like
chest.
looks like if you thought about like what just a badass fireman would look like, it's like this guy just pops out. You know what I mean? Like that's not me ever. This is never me, dude. I'm just being honest. But anyway, there's leaders that have the ability to bring out the best in guys like me and guys like you. And that's what good leaders do, man.
That's good. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And in your business and in that, and like, Gary and I talked about that too. It's like, I don't want to spend any more time like belittling people or finding the flaws in people and being like going back to the calls, right? Where you start to like your empathy and your grace and the way you view people, it starts to erode, right? And I'm like, dude, no, that's not the type of person. I reject that. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. I'm going to spend all my time doing the best I can to lift people up, to prop people up, and to hopefully guide people in some positive direction. That's what I want to do. I'm not saying I'm perfect. You're not perfect. Neither of us are sitting here saying we're perfect, because we are far from it. All right. But like, if I can do anything, if there's any legacy or anything I can do, any way I want to leave it, that's the way that I want to leave it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So what's wild is, we hired this whole thing started out with just me, obviously. And then I started having Phil, who was also at this point in time, he was just one of the guys, backwards fireman on the truck. And he was on our crew, and he just started working with me on the side. He just kind of wanted to like learn it too. And then like it just started building, right? And then we went from me being part-time and him being part-time to me going full-time and him being part-time. And then I ended up hiring a guy. First full-time employee, like W-2. That was scary as crap. And now here we are. I have to actually do the math. I don't really know. I hate to say that. This sounds terrible probably, but like I think we have 7 full-time, not including me. And that's crazy. Like that is absolutely wild to me. And to the point where we had hired 3 guys on the floor and a new draftsman all in the same month. The 3 guys on the shop floor all started on the same day, and we had to have an orientation. Okay. Like I'm talking like we were sitting at the table.
Did you PowerPoints?
No PowerPoints.
Oh, man.
But
missed opportunity.
Dude,
there.
But I mean, it just goes to show you, like, and
No,
I take it pretty serious. Like I have very professional looking SOPs, forms, applications. Like it's a legit opera. Like nobody has to wonder, like, are they going to actually get paid in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure.
So we ended up having a meeting with all these guys at one point. I had to let somebody go. That was really hard. Guy was a great dude. Really hard worker, but he was very young and he was still finding his way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
In terms of like maturity, how he handles himself in a workplace, that kind of stuff. And it was hard to let him go because he was a really good worker. And but we had to let him go. And after that, I kind of had a meeting with everybody and I said, look, I'm not going to let one person in this place destroy or taint or be toxic or like ruin the environment. And so we ended up having this meeting. I was talking to him and explained a little bit about, what my viewpoint of leadership is and this and that and extreme ownership and all that. I ended up buying 2 books. I actually bought 2 copies of The Servant and 2 copies of Extreme Ownership. And I handed them out to the guys. This was probably 3 months ago. One of the guys just texted me tonight while you were setting up. He texted me and said, "Hey, just wanted you to know I finished up The Servant. It's an amazing book. And I just want you to know, like, pretty much everybody in the organization is following that book."
That's awesome, dude.
I told him, I was like, "You just made my night."
That's awesome.
So the fact that he took it, and this is a guy who's a veteran. This is what I was talking about. I got guys that work for me that have literally no business working for me. I ask them all the time, like, when are you going? Like, when are you leaving?
Yeah.
Like, people like you don't stick around. Like he's got the will and the ability to do anything. And put it this way, he's a realtor, mortgage broker, and or his wife's a mortgage broker, and veteran, built a house, wants to build houses. He wants to come, he wants to work for me, he wants to learn.
Dude,
and
that's so cool, man.
it is, so, and I gave him a copy and he took it and read it. You know how good it feels to know that your guys are, and I think you said it, like people are kind of drawn towards, they're hungry, man. Like they want to be a part of this organization and they're learning. Dude, it has not been easy. Like we've had a lot of learning curves and setbacks, and when you grow that quick, that fast, that much, like you're bound to have problems, and we've had them. It's just about how you come through it. And
dude, 100%. And something like there's something about, like, I'm sorry I say this, and I'm probably gonna cancel episode 2, but dude, anybody can be a real estate person, anybody can be a realtor, anybody can be a fisherman, anybody can be any number of menial task things that Chat GPT and AI and all these other organizations are just shooting for it. But there's something about the human experience and things that require like legitimate creativity. Dude, there's never gonna be 0 people that want to go, you know what? Instead of working in an office, instead of working here, instead of doing the rat race, instead of doing that, you know what? I want to build things with wood. I want to be creative in that way. I want to write music. I want to do art. I want to do, because to me, it's like, I understand, like, obviously there's a difference between people who write songs and people who build cabinets. But I'm just saying, like, the equate is real similar to me, where you are, it's a fine art. It requires so much execution and persistence, and it's like the fail 9 times, do it 10. Like It's got all those things that just make it human and real. And it's like, sure, I'm sure there's a computer out there somewhere that can make a cabinet like in 10 minutes. I'm sure that's a thing, right? But people choose you. People still pick you, and I'm always fascinated with that. Like, it's the same in real estate, right? Like, dude, like I can go Chat GPT and go, hey, tell me what I should sell my house for in this market and what I should make and blah blah blah. Free game. Sorry guys, like that's just what we're up against, right? It's the reality. And people, I'm sure, are doing that. And it's like, I know because the realtors are doing it, and that's stupid. Don't do that. But like there's still people calling me for the human, for the real person. That's like, no, this is a relationship business. I need somebody to guide me, to help me, to give me the knowledge and the experience and the way to overcome. Because look, like things like building a home, or building like a cabinet place, or building a house, or selling a house, or any type of that stuff, like there's a lot of emotions attached with that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's just there's from the outside looking in, there's just a lot of emotions attached with that stuff. And there's almost like a need to like have a human on the other side of that maybe isn't emotionally attached to it, but can service you in the best way and do the best you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, so there's 2 things. One, people buy from people they like. It's not always about the price, not about the delivery. It's not always about, I hate to even say it, but the product. It's people buy from people they like. And if they hit it off in a relationship with somebody and they feel good and they feel comfortable, I promise you that close ratio is going up. And the other part of it is people don't leave their jobs, they leave their bosses. That somebody told me that a long time ago, and it stuck with me. And So I think with both of those things, and yeah, AI, ChatGPT, all these stuff, like the trades are dying, man. And we just happen to get into it at a time where having somebody do good work, that they actually build the cabinets and they're not ordering it from China, and that's like a sliver of the pie. Like, yeah, I thank you. Like, I appreciate all the compliments, but us building a good cabinet and a quality product does take part of, like, it's play, like it's part of the play, but it's not all of it. Like, it's a sliver of the pie, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's showing up when you say you're going to show up, committing to things that you can actually fulfill, which we've done a lot of committing. And I hate to say, like, I had a meeting with a big design firm, and we're now working with them after months of talking with them. And this is a very well-known design firm in the area. And, you know, they're taking a leap with us. And dude, that's really hard to swallow. Like, there's people in business that would be like, cool, like, this is it. Like, all right, cool. And they're not sweating it. And like, props to them, I guess. But at the same time, like, I feel a tremendous amount of pressure and weight to make sure we fulfill what we promise we will do. And I think that is another piece of that pie, is like the fulfillment and actually committing and being able to follow through with the commitment. We've gotten really good at, I'm terrible at saying no. It's like somebody comes to me and hands me like, hey, really need you to do this job. Can you do it now?
Except for coming on to talk on the podcast.
Well, you know. I mean, if I knew I was going to be subjected to these smells.
What he's saying is is just an accusation. Some people in this room have farted at some point in this podcast, and the stinks. We've tried very hard to mask our.
I just can't put my finger on where it's coming from.
I don't know. I'm not pointing at anybody, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so yeah. Well, it's your fault. We had to go to Moe's before this. Who does Moe's before a podcast? Like, whose idea was that?
I'm not letting you drive anymore. Like, you're not driving the ship
we ran into
anymore.
A car accident. We got Moe's. We're eating black beans, and somebody's just ripping doo-doo bombs in this small room, like, in this whole thing. And I got to sit here for 2 hours and smell that. I'm really offended. It's really frustrating to be back here with you.
We need to get, like, I need you to upgrade the system so that there can be, like, other senses and not just listening and looking, but, like, I need you to inject the smell so that these people
So when
understand.
somebody rips ass in the chair, it just like goes through their air conditioner in the car. Oh, dude, that's a quick way for people to hate us, man. Like, so just real quick, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go off on a tangent, but this is something that really irritates me. I had to go to Disney Springs to go see Santa Claus this past weekend, and you're an Orlando guy, so you'll understand this, but like. First off, point one, like, again, here I go, I'm about to get canceled again, but why do we all as adults, like, all pretend like we enjoy going to Disney? Why do we do that?
Right. Well, there's some people that live in this fantasy world that do actually enjoy it.
Dude,
that's another
those people topic. Have very big gums, and they're gonna come to my house and murder me after this podcast, because literally no one goes to Disney and enjoys it. No one. I was there at Disney Springs, and it was like packed, like we were packed like sardines, and a man,
dude, it's the worst.
And we're all there, and everybody, there's not one smiling adult, not one happy person at the happiest place on earth anywhere. And I am literally like, we're all doing this thing, we're all pretending like this is good, and then they just raise the prices, and we're like, yes. Yeah, raise my money. Raise that price higher, daddy. Like, do that. And we all just pretend like this is the thing. But dude, if you say you don't like Disney, or like it's wrong, like what I just said, dude, people are like, and their gums get really large, and they're like, what? Like, there's a direct correlation with like big gums.
All we did is like paid a bunch of money to go yell at our kids in another location.
That's it. Dude, my kids are running around, and my anxiety is through the roof the entire time. There's not an instance anywhere where I'm like, I really enjoyed this. And you know what? The crazy thing about it is we didn't even get to see Santa. We literally did not get to see Santa, because there's like a Disney magic queue or something that you have to be there, but you can't be there. But at the time, you have to have the app, and you need to be at like the geolocation at the specific time to get in the queue, to get in the line. And we literally are like 6:02, and we're there, and it's like, queue's full, sorry. And we have to tell our kids like, sorry, Santa doesn't want to see you today. After we're like spending the whole time hyping up, like, you know, dude, I hate Disney. I don't hate a lot, but I dislike Disney with all my fiber in my being. And you know what? If you like Disney and you continue listening to this podcast, God bless you. I hope you get something out of this thing too, but I'm not going to like Disney for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right? That's my take, and that's where I'm at on this thing.
It's the things we do for our kids.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is. Because I would never elect to go to Disney. And I used to, talk about, like, go back to the fire service for a second. Dude, I used to go to Disney, and I was useless. And it has to be like I would be and then that's not just Disney, but Disney was a big one. But any like big crowd event, dude, I'm telling you, like I would be non-functioning. I would just be like eyes wide, scanning constantly, looking at everybody, like just hyper vigilant, and it's constant state of like what's about to go down. That sucks. It's gotten a lot better. I just went to Disney actually, unfortunately, but and it's so much to the point where we just to like even like go a little bit extra to be extra. We got through the gate. I'm like, all right, who wants a balloon? You know, like we're Hollywood Studios or whatever, and it's like the main street, and you got the guy selling the balloons that are probably like $40 with the Mickey in it.
Yeah.
I look at the kids. I look at my wife. Like, who wants a balloon, kids? Like over the top.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, all right, man. Well, dude, it's been over 2 hours.
It's been a good 2 hours though. It's been a lot of fun. The
Listen,
lights are done.
Our lights are absolutely over. It is closing time.
This has been a lot of fun, man.
Listen,
I appreciate
man,
you having me.
Dude, I love you, dude.
Same.
I love you, dude, with all my heart. I think you're an amazing dude, and I watch from afar and I see your success, man, and I'm just like, I wish I could say like I knew it all along, you know, but I knew it all along. Dude, you were destined for greatness. You know, all those conversations where it was like, you know, I'm thinking about leaving, I'm weighing it out, you know, this and that, whatever. And I'm kind of like, listen, man, go with your gut, trust your purpose, like, you know, that kind of thing. And you have set a course, and you are absolutely ripping it up, dude. And I could not be more proud to know you and have you as a friend, man.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. I love you too, man. And I want you to know, like, I honestly, truly, with my heart, I say this, like, I don't know that I would be here. Like, yeah, I had the call. I feel like God was calling me in this direction. But if I didn't have the people like you that did what I needed to do before me, and I saw that you were successful, you were happy, you were doing it, that there was a way, like, and that's why I said earlier, like, maybe people just need to hear, like, there are options. I don't know that I would be here. Like, I had people to look up to. I looked up to you. I still do, but I looked up to you at that point. I was like, holy cow, man. Like, it's possible, you know?
Yeah, man.
So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I just hope, like, you know, for anybody listening, I mean, you know, all jokes aside, like, you know, like both David and I share the same sentiment. Like, we love the fire department, and we love the guys in it, and all the things, like, you know, we every guy, every name you heard in this thing, we love with every fiber of our being. I know that for a fact. If they called tomorrow, and they probably will, it's like nothing but love, man. But, you know, I just think that the more that people hear stories like yours, like you said, God willing, stories like mine and other people that are going to be on this thing, they find a way to just accept, like, okay, if I'm feeling a certain type of way, if I'm feeling a way that like is like inescapable, or, you know, I'm at a path where, you know, maybe this isn't for me, you know, maybe I got to do something different. I don't care if you're a fireman. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care, like, literally insert job or whatever it is. Like, you know, for high schoolers playing football, for anything, I don't care. You can literally apply this anywhere. And you're feeling trapped, and you feel like there's not a way, man. Listen, like, find comfort in these stories. Yeah. Find failure and grace and pain and hardship, and then resurrection and all that stuff in these stories, and take a piece from each one. You might not agree with every single thing. You might not take every single thing, but take a piece and put it in your puzzle. And I guarantee you, man, just like we said, we're firemen. We put it in our toolbox, and we don't always need it, but we're going to have it. And that's exactly what, exactly what this is here. So tell the people, dude, I want to build cabinets. I want to build a badass, like, I'm still waiting on you to build a table. Like, I had to go get this like $40 Amazon table, and because I had a friend that said he was going to build me a table one day and never did. But I guess I'm on that wait list.
Yeah, that build is about 6 months.
Ooh, yeah, no, for sure. Tell the people how I get connected with your business and how I get connected with you on social media and all that stuff.
So we are active on Instagram. We have a website, but I haven't updated in about 3 years. So you could find us there. But yeah, I would say check us out on Instagram. It's at Tiller Trade Co. Tiller like the fire truck. So
okay. So you got Instagram, and then your work's based mostly out of where?
Yeah, so we're fortunate and blessed to stay within Central Florida. We do travel for work when it fits. When it fits our.
Listen to me. If you get a minute, just go. We're talking about a guy that barely graduated out of high school, that went to Seminole Community College, okay, and that drove a badass woo-woo truck. All right, so go look at this guy's Instagram, and I promise you, you will be blown away at the work that this guy does and just the artistry that I'm telling it. To me, it's really special, dude, and that's like maybe it's because I'm a guy who like can't color in between the lines and like I don't see art the way you do, but like, man, I think it's special. So dude, go check him out. Bro, I wish you the best. I know you're gonna continue to crush it. And this is our Christmas episode. I made it.
Almost made it the whole
made it all the way, but your head got a little sweaty. That's what happened to us bald guys, you know what I mean?
Might have been sweating from all that smell, but anyway.
It's getting hot in here. All right, dude. I love you. Let's get out of here, man.
Thanks, bro.
David
Appreciate
Ramo.
you.
Love you, dude. See ya.
Got a quart tank left in my new Elex. In my Elex bed. But that's alright, cause I'm gon' ride. Got everything in my mama name. Got everything in my mama name. But I'm hood rich. Da 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 da.